Hi, everybody, and Merry Christmas. My name is Bruce Bishop, and I'm about to give you a couple of readings from my latest novel, which is called Undeniable Relations. And I'm going to divide this video into part one. This is part one, and then there'll be another one, part two, which will come a little bit later. Um, Unfortunately, I'm not able to be in my hometown of Yarmouth, Nova Scotia this Christmas week, and it's very difficult to arrange public readings in Halifax at this time of year where I live. So, thanks to the magic of Zoom, we're going to do it here. All right, it's December the 24th, Christmas Eve in 1957, and the action takes place in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. It was 2 in the morning on Christmas Day by the time Ida and Dean returned to their home after midnight mass. For the majority of Roman Catholics in Yarmouth, this mass was an annual tradition that was not to be missed. It was an occasion marked as much for its social importance as it was to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. The parishioners and regular attendees at Mass would tut-tut, noticing the infrequent churchgoers who only showed up at Christmas, Easter, and at funerals. The vast majority of Catholics took their historically religious duties to the church very seriously, all except for Dean Doherty. You felt you had to tell Deirdre and Laurel about your breast cancer first before informing your own husband? Dean asked Ida. His voice thundered as he paced in the living room in front of her, clenching the ubiquitous glass of scotch. Well, thank you for your overwhelming moral support, Dean. Somehow I knew you'd take my terminal illness and make it all about yourself, Ida said. Let's not forget that we've been husband and wife in name only for several years. Dean stopped pacing and stood before her. That's true. And I'm sorry to hear this diagnosis, Ida. We did have some good years together before, well, you know, when things turned around. Listen, I'm not dead yet, so save your eloquence until after I'm gone. You know, there won't even be a eulogy at your funeral mass, Dean reminded her. His wife bit her tongue in response. And Merry Christmas to you too, she said, and left the room. The following passage is about another family in the book, in the novel, the Brannigan family. And this next little uh, passage takes place in a building that's no longer there, called Moody's Corner at the corner of Argyle and Main Streets in Southend, Yarmouth. And now it's Christmas Day, and again, a different dynamic, a different mother-daughter here. Mama, he's such an interesting fellow, Dot said to Laurel during their Christmas dinner. I nearly asked him if he'd like to have dinner with us today, but then I didn't want him to think that I was being too forward. Well, it's a darn good thing you didn't ask him, Laurel said, and helped herself to a second serving of turkey stuffing. I wouldn't want to get in the bad side of that housekeeper at St. Augustine's. I bet you she's been cooking up a storm for a week trying to impress that old priest, Father Pachier. And here she's got another man now to cook for, this Hungarian fellow. What's her name again? Bernadette? Dot smiled and thought how her mother was an astute observer of human nature. I think it's Bernice. That's it. That's it. Bernice Robbins, an old maid. She's expecting an express ticket to heaven once she croaks, Laurel said, placing her cutlery down. But she ain't holier than thou, that's for darn sure. Dot chuckled. You've got a way with words, Mama. Sit tight and let me get dessert, Dot said as she removed the dishes from the cramped kitchen table. The table was covered with a cloth and a motif of holly, ivy, and red berries that she had bought at the Royal Store. Laurel stared off into space while her daughter rinsed the dinner dishes in the sink. She didn't pay attention to Dot as she cut 2 pieces of apple pie and didn't hear her ask if she wanted a slice of cheddar cheese to go with the dessert. This woman who had endured decades of manual labor, overt and covert racism, and underemployment her whole life had to muster extra strength to prepare for what was to come in the next 2 days. So that's the end of part one, and take a breather here and start up part two in just a moment. Thank you for watching.